Hello and welcome to Driving Double Feature Podcast. I'm Nathan.
I'm Ryan.
And this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. And getting into today's movie, we are talking about Jason and the Argonauts from 1963. This one is directed by Don Chaffee, which, Ryan, have we covered a movie from him before? I don't believe so. I'm
Have we?
checking. I'm really checking really quickly. He has made so many movies. No, but he did make Pete's Dragon. I mean, that just makes sense, right?
Yeah. Well, Pete's dragon looked just like him.
Yes. I think so. But actually, now that I say that,
Hey,
it does make sense with animation and like the people going like together. Jason and the Argonauts is kind of a famous classic. It didn't make a bunch of money when it first came out, but it is a cult hit and it gets mentioned a whole lot today. And I wouldn't necessarily say it's because of the director, who I said, that is because of Ray Harryhausen, who is the special effects supervisor of this movie. And this is kind of they were there before, but this is like a big blockbuster special effects adventure flick. This is not maybe not the start of it, but definitely like a big push to the next generation of that.
have we done any Ray Harryhausen? I feel like we have.
Yeah, let
Have
me
we not?
check. No, that's a good question. I'm not sure.
Because I feel like we should have gotten to it at some point, but maybe we haven't. But
Yeah, which would be crazy. But there's so many movies to talk about, right? Just a quick glance at his filmography, I don't think we ever have.
huh, all right. Well, I'm really glad we could finally get to talk about Jason. It's been a long time since we've talked about Jason. So, when Jason arrives here, it's at the summer camp in Greece, and the camp counselors are the Argonauts, and Jason has to
Yeah.
go after the Argonauts
Yes,
and give
yeah.
revenge.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. He comes in on a boat. So unlike New York, where he just walks underwater, this time he's actually on a boat and he actually sets sail over there to get the golden last girl. I'm trying. I'm trying.
The golden hockey mask.
The golden hockey mat. There we go. I like that one. No, Ryan, this is not a Jason movie. We have covered every Friday the 13th except for did we never talked about the remake, right?
We never did know.
Yeah, one day, maybe.
Or Freddy versus Jason either. So,
Yeah, but we'd have to do all the nightmares before we got there,
uh,
which
oh,
which that is a great idea. October is coming up. But no,
anyway,
this is Jason and the Argonauts, which is based off of a classic poem, the Argonautica. Has a lot of classic Greek characters like Hercules and Jason, everybody's favorite Jason. I had never heard. Sorry, I have heard of this movie before, but I've never watched it before. It's been one of those movies I've always meant to watch because it always gets mentioned like as like special effects, amazing classic movies. But Ryan, I know you've seen this movie before.
I have. It's been a very, very, very long time. It's been about 25 years
Hmm.
since I last watched it, which I remembered the special effects and everything, and that was probably the thing that I most remember from this movie. So I watched this movie in my Latin class,
Nice,
uh,
nice.
just to talk about it, and I remember my teacher said something really weird, which is like a weird factoid about this movie, which I knew was not true even back then, but
Yeah.
she was like, this is the very first movie to use CGI.
No,
I'm
that's
like, what?
wrong. What are
I'm
you
like,
talking
what?
about?
She's like, yeah, they use computers and they to make the skeletons in here, this movie. I'm like, that's not true at all.
No, and that's like the reason why people like this movie is because of the special effects that the skeletons were hand done, not with a computer.
I
Wow.
mean, I could back then, like a giant computer would be able to like do a math problem, and that was like seen as like a
Oh
wonder. Like, oh
yeah,
my God, like
yeah. No, I don't think computer graphics were even like a thing to like the 70s, and even then it was very, very basic. Like you weren't gonna do anything really with it. Um, Interesting. That's crazy. The fake information that gets passed
yeah.
around.
But actually I knew of Jason before this movie,
Hmm.
like the actual mythological figure, because there was like a video game I remember like a long time ago. It might have been for PS1 or something like that, where you could play as three mythological characters. One was Hercules, and one was this other female character, and then the third one was Jason. You could it was like a
What
little
the
beat 'em up,
hell?
and you got to play as.
Uh, that's pretty cool. And the girl was Xena Warrior Princess.
No, it wasn't
Oh,
Xena, but it was. I would have to look it up, but I just remember you could play as Jason, and Jason did not. He would say really bad things about Hercules too. He'd say like Herc is a wimp type of thing.
what?
He was he was like
Herc
he was like a brat
sucks.
he was like a bratty teenager kind of character.
That's so weird. That is so different than how he's played in this movie. That's really funny. I love that. I got to figure out what this game is.
I'll have to look it up later.
Yeah, but in this movie, it starts off with God. I guess I got to get all these Greek names, all these people's names. Okay, Acastus, who is the leader of God. What? Who does he lead? What is the? They're not Trojans, are they?
Isn't the Castus the guy that betrays Jason?
Oh God, yes, it is. I'm so bad with name.
I think you're
Peleus.
thinking I
Peleus.
Peleus is who you're thinking
Yes.
of. Yes.
Good God. Peleus comes into a city, destroys it. But before that, he hears that he has to kill a baby. And that if he, or because this baby or just some man with one sandal will come in and ruin him and kill him. But he ends up getting
And I'm
tricked.
like, easy job.
It's,
I could beat up a baby any day of the week.
I'm sure you can. I'm glad we have that on record for yeah, and he does it well. He doesn't kill the baby, so I guess he's not as strong-willed as you. But he does kill some random lady. He does
That
kill her. Um,
that was Jason's sister, the one in the temple.
that's right. Yeah, and then it's Hera that's there that speaks to him.
Yeah, Tina, basically. Yeah, Hera.
Yeah, yeah. So Hera's there, and then basically gives him all some mumbo jumbo. He doesn't kill the baby, and he leaves. And Hera stays there, goes back up to Zeus. And what's funny, this is a Greek mythology movie where we get to see both sides. We get to see Zeus and Hera looking down upon the world as Jason does everything, and they kind of command these like toys around. I do love Honor Blackman as Hera in this movie, who's great as always. Really, really thought she had a fun performance here.
Oh yeah, what other character did she play?
Pussy galore. Yep, I'll just say it because there's no way to get around it. I guess I will say it. Yes, from the
Uh,
James Bond movies.
oh, great. Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
I thought it was as soon as I saw that name, I was just like, oh, okay. I
yeah.
knew exactly who that was.
Yeah, which is like tough because I don't know many people in this movie, but I know many of them are famous. Of course I know Nancy Kovac who plays Medea. Hey,
Oh,
Medea. Yeah.
from the Medea movies.
Yes, from the recent Medea franchise. I heard that name and I was like, oh, I didn't know that was the thing. Just to let you guys know and let you know, Ryan, my mythology knowledge is like it's trash. I do not know my mythology knowledge. Like I don't have much going on there. I don't know about you, Ryan. Some people are experts in that kind of stuff.
Oh no, I mean I have very surface level knowledge. Like,
Yeah.
I know of certain legends and stuff like that, and how each god has like a different name, like in the Greek version and the Roman version. So
Hmm.
uh that's pretty much my level of knowledge. I've spoken to people that have way more
Oh yeah.
mythological knowledge than me.
When people are into this stuff, they're really into it.
Which I'm like, try some real history, idiot.
Yeah, learn about
Not myths.
American history, the important history. That's what I say. And only the ones that they don't go to the Smithsonian. And that's a little
Which is why
topical.
I don't recommend this movie because it's fiction.
Yeah, I wanted this to be real. I wanted a real mythological movie. Um, but it cuts to many years later. And Jason shows up and he actually saves Peleus's life when he's drowning in the water. And guess what? He loses his sandal. And Jason wants to overthrow Peleus, but he needs the golden fleece. He thinks that'll give him the power to overthrow him. Peleus is like, go ahead and do it, because Jason doesn't know that that's Peleus. So, and he thinks he sent him on a death, uh, sending him to his death. Which this whole opening, I really like the look of this movie. It's a classic 60s movie with a really nice use of color, and that continues on through the rest of the movie. I think the color tone here is really nice. The costumes are really cool. It really captures the spirit really well.
It's very nostalgic for a lot of these like
Hmm.
sword and sandal type of
Hmm.
movies where uh, and it's just a very technicolor type of movie. Like the colors
Hmm.
in this movie are very they pop, they're very bright.
Hmm.
They uh they really stand out here and just even like some of the scenes like in the temple or anything like that, like the
Hmm.
lighting in there was really nice too, I thought. So just really in terms of just the visual medium of this movie, it's very pleasing. I like looking at it.
Yes, yeah, me too. And I think that's what kind of carries this movie, because to be honest with you, I don't love the actual content of this movie. I think it's good. I liked it in the end, but I do think it can get a little boring sometimes. I thought there were some stretches that were a little uninteresting.
I, I mean, we'll talk about it, but really what kind of made me lose it, for me was probably towards the end of the movie.
Yes, yeah. Especially the ending, which we'll get into. I thought kind of
Yeah.
lost it for me. But he sets up, he gets this great built ship built. It was such a crazy visual of the headmast is Hera's face with blinking eyes like an animatronic, which did he actually build that? Did he actually do that, or was that fake?
I don't think that was intentional. I think that was, I mean, like obviously that's what ends up happening
Uh-huh.
because that's just how Hera talks to Jason, but
Uh-huh.
uh I don't think that was what the builder actually
I
intended
know.
to her to have flappable
I know,
eyelids.
but it's so goofy. It's so
Yeah.
funny to me because it's the
I
headmast and it faces towards the ship.
well yeah. You I mean like now like they would just have it like be like CGI and like the
Oh
head would just be
yeah.
like talking or whatever, but I thought it was pretty creative for the time
Yeah.
at least.
No, yeah, I'm joking, but it's cool to look at. It's fun. And
Uh,
then once they do set sail, that's when like the special effects extravaganza starts up, and it starts to. I think that's the thing to be most impressed by in this movie is the work put in by Ray Harryhausen in these little miniatures and claymation and everything. It's very impressive for the time, and even if you look at this now, like from today's lens, and be like, oh, it's a little dated, it's a little slow. There's still so much artistry and craft in all of these motions that just makes it interesting.
this movie is definitely you could see effort and a lot of labor put into this movie. So,
Hmm.
uh, despite how you may feel about the story, maybe not being as interesting, you definitely get to appreciate all the work that was put into it.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, they start to set sail, and I love how Hera has like five. She can answer five questions or help Jason five times. That's all she's allowed. Jason like rolls right through those five. Like he like is like, hey, can
That,
you help me? Can you help me?
yeah, well, so that was like the whole thing since that's the reason why because Jason happened to be in Hera's temple when that
Uh-huh.
happened, and his sister had prayed for Hera 5 times. So
Hmm.
because of that, he was granted like 5 protections. And I had the same thought. I was like, I mean, like I said, I couldn't remember much about this movie other than a couple of scenes from the
Uh-huh.
visuals. But when it was like, oh, you have 5 prayers that can be answered, and like you said, it's just like boom, 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 boom. I'm like, it's like, whoa, dude, like, wait, save a couple of them.
Yeah, because what I got out of it, because Jason before this is like, oh, I don't want help from the gods. A man needs to make his own way. I'm not going to keep asking the gods of everything. And then, like, next scene, he's like, hey Hera, can I get some help? Hey Hera, can you convince my men this is what we should do? It's like it's really funny. But yeah, they end up on an island, which is an island for basically there's these giant statues that sit there, and they're kind of settled in, and they're warned not to do anything there. But Hercules goes in, and I forget the other guy that's with him.
That was Hylas.
Okay. And they go in there and they actually take some of these like it looks like giant jewelry, and this brings
It
all of
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a brooch, but it's the size of a spear to them because it's
yeah.
meant for giants, and it's the statue of Talos.
Yeah,
That's it.
the statue of Talos that's there. And the statue of Talos comes to life, and it's this gigantic statue, and it can crush men. And this is really cool because it's all claymation of it walking, and they superimpose like these just like it looks like actual film of like really tiny people, and they're running around, and Talos is just stomping everywhere and basically makes their life a living hell. But he asks Hera for help and like how to defeat it, which is like use the ankles, go for the ankles, and then yeah, slices the statue's ankles, and it's actually quite bloody.
Oh, oh no, he opens up like a valve
Oh, that's
the Achilles heel. It was just like,
that's right, that's right,
she's like, "Oh, do you see that thing on his leg? You have to," and he uses his spear to like
that's right.
wedge it in there and like turn open this valve, and it's just like all this, I guess, blood, but it's like red liquid just like spews out, and like Talos is just like, ah, like it just hurts. But I like the visual effects of this one too. What I also like too is the sound design of him,
Hmm.
because you could just hear, like, it just sounded like metal bending or clanking
Hmm.
around whenever he was moving around.
No, I agree. I think that definitely helps it out a lot is the sound design of that. And that ends that whole chapter. And it's very, I mean, that's just like how these are made. It's these poems. They are very episodic in nature where it's like, okay, they finish this part of the adventure and now they move on. And I really like the sequence where they go, they take their ship and they're in the canyon and then like
Oh,
I think I skipped over a whole part. Go ahead.
well, so I wasn't done with that one
Mm,
because I they have like this whole interaction whenever like Jason is building this crew. Like Hercules obviously is one of the his crew members, and
yes.
he meets this guy Hylas.
Hmm.
So like whenever, they have like this little like friendship because he's like, oh, like I'm gonna throw this discus at this little island over there. Like nobody's ever hit it before, and
Hmm. Oh,
he
I forgot
hits
about
it.
that. Yeah.
And Hercules, everyone's like, yeah, Hercules, and Hylas is like, oh, are you supposed to hit the island or go over the island? And he's like, basically, he's like. He's like, oh, I'm a really brainy character. I'm going to use my wits to
Hmm.
over brawn. So that kind of establishes their relationship. So when this happens, Talos is running, and Hercules is the one that basically causes all of this mayhem because he steals that brooch. And
Hmm.
Hercules drops this brooch. Hercules runs away, like all the other crew members runs away, and they're just like, they totally get away. And Hylas is like, Hercules, you dropped your spear, and he runs back towards it, like as Talos is like
That's
falling
right.
over. And I'm like, this guy is supposed to be the smart guy, and he did the dumbest thing you could possibly do
And he
over
doesn't
a
even
spear.
attempt to run once Talos he notices Talos is gonna fall on him. He's just like, ah, he
He
screams
runs
and
in a
stands still.
and he runs in a straight. I think he does run in a
Oh, he
straight line.
does. But well, either way, he does it in the very most dumb way possible. It's definitely like he looks up and it's just like, it's done for. There's nothing I can do. But then Hercules he is so distraught about this, and nobody know because did nobody see him die because they're all just
Well,
like that's right
they don't.
he has to call
They
up
they
Hera to convince everybody.
right. He thinks they don't realize that Hylas is dead.
Hmm.
So they use Hera's last wish
Hmm.
on this scene right here
Yes.
because because they go to Hera and they're like, because Hercules is like, I'm not leaving this island until I find out what happened to Hylas, and all the other crew members are like, same with us. We're not leaving until we get confirmation that Hylas is dead or not, and we're
Mm.
not leaving without Hercules. And Hera basically has to come down and be like, hey, Hercules has got to stay there. Like
He's
he's
on
got
his
his
own
own other.
journey.
He's on
Hmm.
his own little adventure right now. So, and Hylas is dead. You need to get out of there and go to this other island instead.
Yeah. So they do find they do eventually leave from there. Um and so yeah, I forgot all about that because Hercules is in this movie and he's out. I guess because I don't know the poem or whatever, but I was like, wow, Hercules is barely in this thing. And I wonder if in the poem, like your video game, if the video game Jason's like, Hercules sucks, if he's like meaner in like the poem or not. But that's when I think Hera also gives like the final tip of going to Phineas, who is the blind man with the harpies. But along, no, he goes to Phineas first. That's right. And he goes there, and it's a blind man who's like tormented by these harpies that Zeus has forced upon him. And he has directions to get to the correct place for the Golden Fleece, but they have to get the harpies. And the harpies are so goofy looking. They are so, these are like pure clay flying around, flapping around. Out of all the special effects, this might be the weakest, but it's still like this enjoyable, like fun little thing. These purple harpies and the way they interplay them with the real people going for them and the claymations going
Oh
on to
yeah.
the side. That's fun. Which I guess reading about this, not because there's a really famous skeleton sequence later, but all the special effects for this movie took about 4.5 months to do. And that's because all of the actual people, when they filmed this, they just had them mimic a lot of their attacks and just kind of like what we do nowadays with CGI, just pretend that something's there. And it made Ian McKellen cry on the set of Lord of the Rings because you ever hear that story?
Well, I've seen the video of him doing it,
Okay.
him crying. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
Now, do you think do you think Ian McKellen would have cried like on the set of this movie? He's like, I thought there would be real harpies. This is not why I got adapted.
yes, yeah, I think so. Kind of like oh God, what's his name? What's the name of the first Dumbledore, that actor? Uh
Oh, Richard Harris
Richard Harris, which if you watch the back to the behind the scenes to Chamber of Secrets, did I ever tell you this where he thought the Phoenix was real? He's like, wow, that's really like he was like amazed by this like fake puppet Phoenix, thinking it was a real bird, but also he was like close to death as well, so that doesn't help.
Yeah.
Uh,
I just wonder though, he was just like, do you think there had to be like right now, I mean CGI is so ingrained, it's like you almost like it's almost rare for a movie now to be made without like any CGI.
yeah, like a big movie, yeah.
But it's so funny now. Like, do you think like any actors back then were like the basically like that then? Where they're like, there's so much,
I'd love
there's
to
so much
hear.
claymation,
I
there's so
hate this
much.
claymation. It got started on King Kong. They were like, I wanted to see a giant ape. Yeah.
Fay Ray was crying like a baby, having to
Hey,
deal with that
at least back then they had sets where Ian McKellen's just standing in a green room, right?
with no other people. Yeah,
Pretty bad.
by himself, by himself.
All right, and just pretend you're here, pretend there's like 50 people around you, and just have a conversation. Yeah, I think I'd cry too if I was his age. Um, but anyway, basically the Peleus gets his wish, he gets his food, and the harpies are chained up, and Jason has this weird statement of like,
Like,
no, he's like, no, you get to rule over the harpies, or it's something really
yeah.
cheesy. It's funny. How'd you feel about Jason's performance? This definitely, for me, I feel like this is not a movie for performances.
Oh no, I mean, there's nobody in here I would say was memorable in the slightest. I mean, I
No.
wouldn't say anybody here was like bad, like oh my God, they're a terrible actor, but I I felt like I felt like all the performances in this movie were all at the same level. Like
Pretty
nobody
much.
really went above the bar there. Like it's like they all have like a certain quota they had to meet in terms of acting
Yeah.
level, and they were all right
I
there at that
think
line.
I think you're right. Yeah, they were told like, hey, just like act at a mid level. Everybody's doing it, and just get this movie done. We're not really here for you.
Because
um,
I mean, I can't even think of like one person that like was like over the top, or even or somebody that had was like exceptional talent, because it was all about the same for
no,
me.
no, but I can say one thing I love about older movies like this is that all of the dudes in it aren't like super ripped and built. Like there's a lot of people on this ship that are kind of fat. Like they like and it's the best way to put it. They're like overweight and they're like still considered good warriors and like Hercules
It's
20
like
years
we
later.
have this guy that's in his late 50s with a beer gut, and he's gonna be gray, I promise.
Yeah, and I'm cool with that. I love that. And like Hercules, he isn't like super extremely built. Like he's a strong guy, but he's not like a super big buff dude. It's kind of just
He's
like
probably
big
like,
men.
yeah, I mean, he's like the largest out of everybody,
Mhm.
but it's not like he's just like, he's not like Lou Ferrigno Hercules, or
No.
he's not ripped or anything. He's just a guy that just has like a like a bigger frame than the other ones.
Yeah, which I don't know,
And
I kind of like that aspect to it. Even though the costumes on some of them, they just look like they're wearing a straight up diaper on this boat.
that's what I say. Like they all just had their little diapers on and just running around.
I mean, there's no bathroom. I mean, what are you gonna do? Pack an extra couple packages of diapers from this island, and we'll move on.
No, they're no. I mean, but they show up on to fight the harpies. They have like armor, so I mean, they
Yes,
actually packed. They did pack armor away.
they did. They did. They packed armor for the special occasions. Which, so there's this giant canyon, which I mentioned a long time ago, if you guys remember, where if you touch the walls, the whole thing like shakes and it's really dangerous. But Jason and them are doing a really good job of just cruising right down the middle
Well,
slowly.
he gets like this. He gets this little amulet or whatever, this little
Yeah.
statue that's just like, hold on to this because you're going to need it. The gods are going to
hmm
protect you.
Yes, that's right. Which he holds on to, but then all of a sudden, another ship just comes in on the other side of the canyon, and they're idiots, and they start bouncing off the canyon walls, and then the whole thing starts to shake. And everything's crashing down, and it's a really great visual. And he tosses the statue, and out comes Zeus, or not Zeus, Aquaman.
Poseidon or King Triton.
Yes, yeah. King Triton comes up and and it's a real guy. So it's like and they made it look really big, like him really big, and there's like a toy ship under him, and he uses both of his arms to hold up the sides of the canyon so the ship can go through. And I won't say it like looks perfect. Like it definitely looks like there's a little dinky toy ship going under his arm, but there's something about like this like the largeness, the large scale of this that I've just found impressive.
I mean, I didn't hate it. I liked
Yeah.
it. It was. I mean, you would never see anything like that now. Or I mean, if it would, it'd be like you said, be like, oh, like somebody holding this little CGI person or whatever.
Yes.
But now it would be like them just like holding the wall and everything. I thought it was pretty creative for the time.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really cool. I think that's what's cool about this is you have this Greek mythology that you want to do. You have the story you want to tell, and it's a more about like nowadays. I feel like it's like yeah, you can tell it because we got CG, right? Like we can do this easy. Back then, it was like okay, we have the story, but how do we do it? And we have to figure out cool and creative ways to do these things. Um, and then what happens after that? Jason does end up on the Golden Fleece Island, and everybody there greets him. And also, there's a woman that I mentioned, Medea. Go ahead.
Well, there's one part you need to mention before we get into that, because uh, Jason, while on the boat, like his crew is like getting really restless, and
hmm
one of them named Acastus is just
hmm
like, "Screw you, man! I'm sick of you," type of thing, and
Yeah.
tries to challenge Jason, and Jason just beats the crap out of him, and then Acastus actually falls off the boat, I believe,
Yes.
and but eventually he does show up on the Golden Fleece Island.
That's right. Yes. Which causes some issues because, oh, go
Which
ahead.
that plot is feels like a complete afterthought too. It's just like it's not built up to being like, oh my God, like it's a Castus.
No, yeah, yeah, it's really not that big of a deal. Because they get there and it's very quick to be like, okay, Jason, you come here as an enemy and you want to take my fleece, you go to the dungeon. But luckily, like the queen works it out that she drugs everybody and gets them out to go get the golden fleece. Which I mean, honestly, I think that's a fun part of the movie because they're all sitting there drinking, having fun, and then the king's just like, um, I hate you now. Like it's like very quick. Like he's treating them so nice. Like no, no, you're going to the dungeons right now. But they end up escaping, and that's when we get like two really cool sequences of Jason fighting the Hydra, which is a really great scene of just like this Hydra, and then it's a mix of Jason being superimposed over the claymation, but then also sometimes there's a claymation Jason, and I thought that was a really fun fight.
Yeah, I mean, it when you look in on it, you like it does look like he's
Oh yeah.
like claymation. But I kind of looked at it like at the thought of like, okay, if I was in like a 1960s theater and this has not been upscaled in any way, I
hmm
probably wouldn't have noticed.
No, no, I wouldn't have noticed. And that's the thing is like there would be more film grain, which is movies. The Tubi version at least still had a good amount of film grain on it and lots of rips and cuts. At least the version I was watching, and I imagine that it would have looked incredible for the time, especially for people in 1963 that hadn't really seen anything quite like this, or not as often, I should say. Um, but then the real showstopper scene is the one that everybody talks about, and I was surprised was at the end of the movie was the skeleton fighting sequence, because it's crazy how impressive this sequence is. So yeah, it's a group of the Argonauts fighting a bunch of skeletons. And the way it's animated into the movie is just crazy, the ambition there, because they could have been lazy. It could have been very flat, just, okay, Jason, you swing your sword a few times and we'll put a skeleton on this. No, the skeletons have like a crazy range of motion. Like there's a scene where one's fighting on the top of a fence and one's fighting below it, and they have to animate one running and the other one jumping over the fence. And it's timed so well with the actual people. It is such an impressive scene. I totally get it.
Yeah, there's even one time where one of the actors kicks one of the skeletons and the skeleton like kind of does like this little flip and it
hmm
looks it's really timed very well. That's one thing I will say. It doesn't
hmm
look like I mean obviously it's fake, but I mean it doesn't really seem like they were just like you said, just flailing about and just kind of hoping for the best.
Yeah, it actually seems choreographed like really, really well. And I think that's what sells it and makes it work is that it actually feels like they're interacting with each other. And as a viewer, that's not what's happening, but they do a good job of making it cohesive. They end up getting beating on the skeletons, they get the golden fleece, and that's it. We don't get the Peleus going back to get revenge. I imagine there's more adventures on the way back because he does end up with Medea in the end, yes, and he doesn't know that Medea is actually Tyler Perry dressed as a woman. So it's kind of yeah, I feel bad for him. Maybe in the sequel, which actually there is no sequel to this movie. They did not make a sequel. This is the only one. Ends on a note of Zeus and Hera like talking, and Zeus is like, "Oh well, I'm gonna let them enjoy their life, but they still have more to do." Hera, and Hera is like, "Oh
Well,
no."
yeah, well, Hera is eventually like, it's like, okay, well, they can live a peaceful life now. Hera's like, I win, the game is over, and Zeus is like, the game is not over. Like, oh, he's got
hmm
plenty to do. It's like we're gonna keep going, and they're just like, Hera's like, okay, and it's just movie over.
Yeah, movie's over. I was so surprised that they would just end it like that. It feels. I mean, they get their goal, but not the ultimate goal. I thought that was odd. Maybe they did plan on a sequel, which I don't think they really did. Like they really planned on sequels too often back then. But this movie was a flop, so I imagine maybe if it made more money, it would have maybe gotten something else.
I mean, for me, I'd say overall, like, it's enjoyable enough.
hmm
Um, I do want to get into some negatives, so kind of what we kind of touched upon, where I think, like for me, I mean, uh, probably like when like after like the harpy scene, it was the movie kind of dragged for me a little bit. Like I just
Hmm.
them on the island and stuff, and them trying to, like, oh, the Acastus plot line and the other king, like just deciding that, he doesn't like Jason, really kind of dragged for me. And I didn't really feel like it really picked up until we saw the Hydra and then the skeletons.
Hmm.
So, and then at the end of the movie, when it's just like, oh no, like movie not, the movie's over type of thing. And we don't really see like a very conclusive ending to the story, which I do know like there is more to the actual story. Because I mean, there is like a more definitive ending version, like in the actual episodic version.
Yeah.
Like I think like I think Jason and Medea end up living together for like 10 years and having a kid, and then a whole bunch of other stuff happens. But I uh I would have liked something a little more conclusive. I could see why this movie probably would have flopped at the time. I mean, it was really neat to see, like kind of like a CGI spectacle now, where there have been some movies where like the CGI looks great and everything, but then you're like with the story and stuff, you're like, oh, like
Avatar.
that's not, yeah, that could be one where it's just you're like, hey, CGI looked great, the visuals were awesome, but the story was kind of, meh.
No, and that's exactly what I want to say. Like, as you saw, I highlighted all the big scenes, but the stuff in the middle I just don't think work as well. And I think you kind of talked about this before, and the more I think about it, I do think this helps. I just think we needed a more interesting lead. Jason's just kind of bland, kind of boring, and so are the rest of the cast. So I think that makes those little sections where you follow them between all these big things not really interesting to follow. So I think it does drag, but it still looks cool. That's why I would give it a light recommend. I do think it's a movie you should check out just for like film history, really cool piece of time purposes. And I mean, there's a joy to the color, there's a joy to the costumes, but I won't tell you that it's the most riveting movie. I don't think it is. I think there's a lot of weaknesses to like the connections to everything. Kind of like some of the Godzilla movies. It's a good way to put it, where like
Uh,
action's usually always good, but then there's sometimes where the human story just like drags.
Nathan, all the movies are perfect. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, did I say Godzilla? I meant the Saw movies. I meant, yeah, those, yes.
They're better. That's better.
Yeah, yeah. But no, I do think well, did you recommend it?
It would be a very light recommend for me. Like you said, historical context is everything with this one. I mean, just for film history, I mean, it's visual effects wise, it's enough. There was enough on the plate for me to say it was good, but overall, like I probably wouldn't be rewatching it anytime soon.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. I don't think I'll be going back to this one. But I do think that wraps it up for Jason and the Argonauts. But Ryan, what are we covering on Thursday?
Nathan, we are doing a martial arts movie. We are doing The Magnificent Butcher, and that is on the Criterion Channel.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to watch that one. And if you want to email us, you can email us at driveanddoubleFeaturePodcast@gmail.com. But also be sure to check us out on YouTube. You can leave a comment there if you want to recommend us anything. But until next time.
Until next time.